There's no time for cutscenes, are you crazy? Hello everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome back to the Sonic Adventure 2 Chronological Let's Play. We are still in our stretch of final levels at the end of the story here, with Knuckles' final stage of the game, Meteor Herd. Another astronomically huge treasure hunting stage. Get it? Because we're in space, and there's meteors. Yeah? Astronomical? Yeah? Okay, I'll shut up. Before we really get into the treasure hunting of this stage, though, we need to find Knuckles' last upgrade. Punch a meteor into that door over there. Punch the steel crate. Flick the switch. Open up the center area. Climb up and climb into there. If you can get past the sort of force field up here, you have to climb up a bit and dive down. And that gives us the sunglasses, which you totally have not seen before this point. See things you couldn't before. So it is basically the power-up that Rouge got in the bonus content last time. It's Knuckles' version of the treasure scope. Simply switch your action command, put on the sunglasses, and a spring appears directly in the camera. Or maybe it was just invisible there and we happen to be pointed right at it. But now that we found that, we can get out of this area here and actually get to exploring the level. Which, as I mentioned before, is freaking massive. It is just like Mad Space in terms of size and scale. But weirdly, I don't mind it nearly as much. It's a little less all over the place, and it's more of just a sort of straight up vertical level you have to explore. It's not nearly as obnoxious as Mad Space. There's no weird gravity gimmicks or like a lot of distinct sections. Its main drawback is just that it's really big. Like, really, really big. And even just exploring one area can definitely take some time. But oddly enough, because it's not as annoying as Mad Space, I actually think, thinking critically about it, this might be my favorite Knuckles level. I know that's weird to say with how great stages like Pumpkin Hill are, and how Aquatic Mine, like I said, filled that niche underground exploration game thing for me. But Mad Space is just honestly a pretty cool level. It's just probably a little too big for its own good. Did I mention there are meteors in this level? There's meteors in this level. So, yeah, I lost a life before even finding an emerald piece, and that meant, all the emerald pieces got reset. So it's kind of like nothing happened, but we still, have our sunglasses now. We can't lose them after the fact. It's just really a matter of scaling a very large vertical space, as I said. And while that might seem problematic at first, it's honestly not as bad as you think it is. Because once you're at the top, you can quickly get back to the bottom of the level by just jumping off the side of a cliff and doing a drill dive downwards, and you can actually cover a lot of ground, a lot of vertical space, at least going downward, pretty easily like that. Finally, we find our first Master Emerald piece, fighting with a pseudo-chaos monster and a bunch of meteors hitting us, running around in a panic, trying not to lose another life, and grab one ring. And that being said, even though I do like this level a lot, and it is way better than Mad Space, there is going to be one cut here, because it still took a while to actually finish this level. Finding piece number 2 didn't take that much time, but the level still took, I think, a little over 6 minutes to actually finish. So, yeah. Still a bit of a lengthy stage, but not nearly as annoying as Mad Space, and not nearly as confusing as Death Chamber. It's a big exploration level that is just about right, I'd say. Definitely way better. I'd say the only annoying part is where the last Master Emerald piece kind of ended up. And that's... it can spawn in this area, like, floating around on the outskirts of the level. And it's just kind of floating around in the middle of space. I mean, I guess all of them are floating around in space right now. But, yeah, it can just have an annoying spot where it's just in this meteor field somewhere, and you gotta glide around to the right meteor and find it. But there you go, that is Knuckles' final level done, in record time compared to the last couple treasure hunting stages. I like Meteor Herd a lot. It is really cool. I could still do better score-wise, though, I think.
Long time no see, treasure hunter. Did you find my emerald?
That's a good one. Your emerald. Talking to you is a waste of time.
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take it from you.
And in addition to Knuckles' final level, we have Knuckles' final boss fight, which is of course against Rouge the Bat. Unlike the other character versus character battles, you only fight Rouge the once, and this fight is actually pretty tricky. Unlike the previous character versus character battles, Rouge does a pretty decent job of fighting back, and you've gotta be careful around her. If you attack too haphazardly, she can easily counter you. So what you really want to do is try to catch her in the air like this, so you can land a solid blow.
I never lose.
If you know what you're doing, the fight isn't too bad, but if you let things go off on too long, things can get tricky. And of course, on the opposite side of things is Rouge's final boss fight with Knuckles, which we get to see a little more of why this fight might be a bit more difficult than you think. You can be very easily countered if you attack all willy-nilly, and you really don't want to give your opponent a chance to get a foothold, because if they do, they can start launching special attacks at you, which is something we haven't seen yet. You really don't want to give them that opportunity because they can be difficult to dodge if you're not careful. We can see one come up right about here. That is Knuckles' Thunder Arrow. I don't know how it missed just then, but it did. It's usually a pretty direct, quick attack. Rouge has a similar attack, but we just didn't get a chance to see it. And like that, those boss fights are done, and we are officially done playing as Knuckles and Rouge.
Stop fooling around and give me back my emeralds.
What are you babbling about? Call yourself a hunter attacking a lady? Shame on you!
What kind of lady goes around stealing gems anyway?
Those belong to me! What in the world? Keep your hands to yourself! Don't touch me!
Is that how you say thanks to someone who just saved your life?
Saving my life. Don't think I owe you one. You just wanted to hold my hand, didn't you? That's why you saved me. You're such a creep.
This isn't a joke, you know. Think what you want, Batgirl. I was saving the Master Emerald.
No matter what you say, it sounds crazy.
What?
Fine, then just take them. They stink like echidnas do.
If that's what you thought, you should have given me them in the first place. Finally. sorry if I hurt you.
We should get going.
I think Rouge has a crush on someone.
What's Rouge up to, anyway? This is strange. It's showing energy readings from 2 separate Chaos Emeralds. Did they really think they could trick me with that fake emerald? Wait, Shadow. I'm the one who should be telling them the end is near, not you. Now is the time to end this long drawn-out battle and mark myself a place in history as the ultimate genius. If something happens, I'm counting on you to finish the job. Hurry! The moment for attack has come. It's now or never!
See, what did I tell you, Tails? Leave your real Chaos Emeralds at home. It'll just lead to trouble like this. Now it is time for Dr. Eggman's final level, Cosmic Wall. And much like Knuckles' final level, I think this might actually be my favorite Eggman level. Because unlike the other mech stages, you get a bit of an anti-gravity mechanic in this stage. The longer you hold down your booster, the higher you float up into the air. It only goes so far, but it adds a sense of, like, mobility and control to the mech that other stages don't really give you. And it's just a really cool mechanic otherwise. I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. I'd say the main downside to this stage, much like Tails', is that it does go on for a good while. This is a very long stage to sit through, and it can be tricky to kind of keep your focus sometimes. There's still a lot going on in the stage, there's a lot of enemies you have to keep track of, so it can be hard to avoid all the fire coming your way sometimes. All that being said, I still don't think it's as bad as Tails' stage. This is definitely the superior stage of the final mech stages. I think, without a doubt, honestly. And plus it's just really cool. And plus it's just really cool having this floating mechanic where you get to fly around with the egg mech, which honestly I feel like if this was more of like a normal feature in the game where the mechs had a little bit of flying power, even though they're kind of big. In Tails' case especially, his is a freaking plane. But if the mechs had more mobility options like this available to them, I feel like it would have made the mech gameplay in this better. I still stand by my opinion that this is the superior sort of gameplay compared to the first Sonic Adventure, but they each have their own sorts of advantages and disadvantages, so it's really a matter of opinion, honestly. What sort of things do you like? Do you like the more complex stages in this game, or do you like the somewhat faster stages in Sonic Adventure DX with Gamma? They're not as detailed, there's not as much to them, but they might be preferable. I know for a fact that there are certain qualities to Sonic Adventure DX that make it better than Sonic Adventure 2. But I'm, like, crazy biased, so yeah. The Protection Armor is Dr. Eggman's last upgrade, which gives him a health increase. This is something that Tails does not have access to. It is a unique power-up to Dr. Eggman. And honestly, it's another thing that makes these mech stages a bit easier. You can take more hits, you can more easily deal with threats. Especially on this last stage, where there's a lot of things to keep track of and a lot of things attacking you. it's very helpful and very useful, and it's kind of disappointing Tails doesn't also have an option like this. It makes his stages that much more difficult, honestly. Also, this happened. Yeah. Apparently the GameCube crashing issue that I was experiencing during Mario Party 4 was not entirely Mario Party 4's fault. So, yeah. That's actually happened a couple of times over the course of the project. Most of them I've been able to edit around, like when the game crashed directly before Sonic's Egg Golem fight. Another reason why that section of the game was completely cursed. But yeah, I blamed the crashing issue mostly on a very scuffed up Mario Party 4 disc, which I don't think helped things. But as it turns out, I think the problem with my GameCube might have been more of an overheating or a fan not operating correctly sort of situation. And this stage actually crashed a few times before I got frustrated with it and had to turn it off for a little while. And the only reason I have to keep that particular crash in is because this is the run where we got... It was the run where we got Eggman's final upgrade, and it automatically saves after that, so I wouldn't be able to show getting the upgrade again, so the crash had to stay in. But you should be glad to know that after a good blasting of canned air to clean out all the dust and stuff in my GameCube, it seems to be operating a little more well. I haven't had any crashes since. So, hopefully it was just kind of an overheating or fan problem caused by the buildup of dust, and I won't have to have any more problems with my GameCube, you know? But anyway, back to the stage. As you can see, it's still going. It's very much still going. There's a good few minutes left here. But thankfully, this is a way more satisfying stage than Eternal Engine was, because unlike Eternal Engine, you can just go nuts and target as many things as you want and get a bunch of combo points, and it's just a super satisfying last level. Especially in this regard, it's a really great level to end off the mech gameplay with, which I think Meteor Herd for this treasure hunting stages, that's a good way to end things off too. They're just two pretty solid levels. Even if they are a bit lengthy and long and kind of can sap away at your attention span a bit if you're not careful, there's still a lot of fun. And plus, I think it's only appropriate that the last mech stage goes to Dr. Eggman, since he is the character that sort of set all of this in motion. It's appropriate. It's very appropriate. This whole venture started with Dr. Eggman trying to seek out a new way to take over the world, and he is taking charge and leading the final assault on the heroes, so to say. Or at least trying to. Shadow is his backup plan, in case things don't work out there. I mean, he can't really rely on Rouge, since she has her own agenda and things, and, well, she was really more focused on just getting gems and rewards out of everything to begin with. Definitely, probably shouldn't have put so much faith into a mysterious Batgirl who showed up pretty much out of nowhere. Especially since we know that she's not totally loyal to Eggman's, destructive ways, so to say. She definitely has another boss behind the scenes somewhere. And we are coming up, I think, to the sort of final stretch of Eggman's level. Another sort of roller coaster segment with a lot of targets to shoot. Also, I was wrong about how many combos numbers you need to get a perfect from another level. It's only 11. As long as you target 11 things, you get 2,000 points for that particular set of targeting. Which does make getting combos on certain stages much easier. And to wrap up the stage, Eggman gets chased by a giant drill that is there for reasons. Definitely for reasons. I don't know why the Space Colony arc has a giant drill in it, or what purpose it served to scientific research or whatever, but there you go. You just gotta keep shooting it to keep it from hitting you, and Dr. Eggman gets flung into the goal ring. And there you have it. That's Dr. Eggman's final stage, and a pretty darn good one to go out on. And look at all those points I got. You're darn tootin' that's an A rank. Heck yeah.
I'm the best.
Darn, why do they always leave a sweet little innocent girl like me alone?
Well, well, young lady. Is there something I can help you with?
Mr. Eggman!
If you value your life, you will tell me where Sonic and Tails are.
Okay, Sonic! Now put that emerald...
Tails, tell Sonic to meet you back at the research facility.
Sonic! Amy is...
I didn't get that, Tails! What happened to Amy? Tails!
Time for another round of cutscene comparison, this time focused around the Knuckles and Rouge fight from this episode. While there's not many differences between these cutscenes, in fact I think there are barely any, it does point out an interesting detail to these character versus character fights. The character you're fighting does not have their gear equipped from their adventures over the course of the game. For the longest time, I thought this was just an anomaly to this fight. But as it turns out, if you pay attention to the Sonic and Shadow fight from earlier, you can actually see that Shadow is missing his flame ring and other gear. It's just kinda something this game does, I guess, and you probably would never really notice if not for how much garbage Knuckles gets covered in from all his upgrades. With all that being said, the following scene then creates a crazy inconsistency because everybody is decked out in their special gear again. Rouge has her treasure scope, Knuckles has his 15 million different items equipped, so on and so forth. All in all though, this cutscene really doesn't have any differences depending on what side you're playing on. Aside for one. Depending on what part of the story you're currently playing, the background music will change.
What in the world?
Knuckles' theme will play on the hero side, and Rouge's theme will play on the dark side. It's the same sort of thing that happened in their introductory cutscene. But this particular comparison isn't as interesting because there's no different camera angles or anything to consider, so probably best if we just move on from it since it's basically the same scene no matter what.
No matter what you say, it sounds crazy.
So, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you very much for watching the Sonic Adventure 2 Chronological Let's Play. This is your good friend Sparky, signing off for now. I'll catch you later.
Game select.